The research paper was a start, but the first thing we did was in my writing class was the lady literally said to just throw out the 5-paragraph format like it's not gonna happen. So excuse me 1 second. Yeah, she was like, just no more 5-paragraph essay. So everything else was more developed, and but yeah, and there's also different types of the heading. I know from my history class I had to do the Chicago style of writing instead of the MLA, so that was a little hard and different for me too with the writing process in college.
I've written over 100 papers at least in college in 3.5 semesters. The writing, it doesn't stop. In an English class, how many papers do you guys have to write? Miss Green, how many papers do I have to write this year? How many?
Many.
Many, right? But I'm talking at least one a week. In a 16 or 18 week semester, having one 6 to 8 page or 6 to 10 or maybe longer page paper due every week, that's a lot of writing. And yeah, that's per class. And if you make the same mistakes, you better believe you're failing that class. You need to learn quick because, like I think Amelia said it before, you're going to get ripped apart in your first one. It's going to happen. You know, regardless of what you think writing should be, your English professor in college is going to have an opinion, and they're going to tell you what their opinion is. And sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, making an appointment with the professor or the writing center and saying, okay, what did I do? What can I do? Instead of just trying to put your head down and fight through it and keep writing the same way you have, be open to changing the way that you write, because not everyone wants to see it the same exact way. Carlo said it perfectly. There's no more 5-paragraph essays. You know, a 5-paragraph essay is considered to be, you know, like classwork. Like you get 15 minutes to write a 5-paragraph essay.
And mom and dad can't call the school and grade change.
No. And you can plead and beg all you want with these professors, but a lot of times, I mean, you can have a relationship with some of these professors, but unless your writing improves, they're not going to give you the grade. And then you're going to have to retake it, and it's more papers, and it's just.
Does anyone take advantage of the resources available on campus for support?
Yeah, we have, at St. Paul we have a writing center, and it's free consultation on your papers. It's all English majors who are working there as part of like an internship program. So these are all people that are studying the language and studying grammar rules and everything. So you can go, you just make an appointment online, you bring your paper, they'll sit down with you for a half hour, an hour, and they'll rip your paper first. So that way you don't get a bad grade on it. They'll rip it, they'll tell you what they think needs to be changed, what they think is good. You can change it, you can go back again before the paper's due, and they'll do it for you as many times as you want to, as long as you make an appointment.
Based off of my experiences, writing is one of the most important things you'll need in college, because in my major, you're going to do a lot of writing papers, a lot of press releases, a lot of media writing. And if you don't get it right the first time, either your professor's gonna not even look it over, she'll just hand it back to you like a penalty and ask you to redo the whole thing, or you just won't get a good grade. And the best thing I can say is listen very carefully to each professor exactly what they want in their papers, because everybody's gonna want something different. Like one professor might look for more detail than the other professor who just wants the basic idea, just get right to the point. It's all very different. And there are also a lot of different formatting styles when writing, like APA, MLA. Like, you gotta make sure you get those right. I still remember my first paper in college. I did a very good job with the paper itself. I formatted it wrong and got a C+ right off the bat, even though nothing else was wrong. So you gotta make sure you get those down. And like I said, just make sure you know exactly what your professor wants. If you're not sure, go and ask. It'll definitely benefit you.
Well, when I was in high school, I really liked my English class. Not to like shout out to Miss Green or anything, but English is always been one of my favorite subjects. So I came into college and I thought like, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy. Whatever, I'm gonna coast kind of. And trust me, if I could go back to my high school self and probably smack myself upside the head, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because like you're gonna learn so much over these next 4 years or 5 years, however long it takes you. And not just speaking about like papers or stuff like that, but I think, like, I'm speaking just for myself right now, but I think that over these next years or where we're gonna go in your life, you're gonna learn more about yourself just by experiencing it and stuff like that. But back to papers, it's kind of like, in all honesty, like I've been hearing this since I was in 3rd grade. It's like, go read a book. Like, in all honesty, go to Barnes & Noble, get a book, and start reading, because if you educate yourself outside of the classroom and kind of make yourself more well-rounded. When you have to write a paper, it's going to come a lot easier to you. You know, like for example, with like this whole thing with the hurricane going on, like classes got canceled and stuff like that, and I didn't have as much time to work on a paper as I used to. So I got an email from my professor in about 2 weeks or 10 days. He said, "Oh, just a reminder, your paper's due." And we thought it was due the end of the semester, and it wasn't, basically. So he's like, "All right, the guideline was go write a paper on whatever you want. I don't care as long as it relates to the class." And because I kind of already knew the background or whatever, I didn't even have to do that much research. I kind of just pulled it off the top of my head and then got some sources to cite it. So I think that if you kind of make yourself well-rounded and kind of dive into every kind of field that you can while you're going into college, or once you are in college, that it's going to make writing papers a lot easier. And my other advice is don't do it the night before. You know, make an outline. If you have a term paper, do it at the end of the semester. Kind of at least start it about 3-4 weeks before, because that's going to take enough time in itself. And if you're doing that for one class, that time's going to add up, and you don't want to mess up that far in the semester and start panicking and then have to take a final exam on top of that.
Well, kind of like what Emilio said, like I always got A's on my paper in high school, and like my teacher returned our first paper, and like I didn't do as well as I thought I would have. So it's a lot different. It's a lot different writing style. It's a much higher level of writing, so you really have to work on, I know, varying your words and varying your sentence structure. You can't just use the same things over and over, and like a lot of times you switch between tenses. You have to make sure you don't do things like that. So like writing is really